The Green Party has elected a new leader who thinks he can hypnotise women into having bigger breasts.
And a deputy who once described a rabbi as some sort of animal. What a pair. Is this really the face of progressive politics in the UK?
The truth is, the Greens must be really irritated that they had this breakthrough at the last election. They're doing well in the polls. And suddenly, Corbyn decides to form a new party rather than join them. Why didn't he bring the Gazan independents in with him? Why didn't he and Zara Sultana join the Greens? From what I can make out, they agree on literally everything.
Can I just say that you are far too suited and booted for the second day running to have attended a Green Party leadership launch today. You should have been in a tie-dye T-shirt, socks and sandals. You must have, talking about sticking out like a sore thumb in the countryside, you must have looked like the resident Tory boy of the scene.
I don't know what's happened to me. I'm dressing like a prep school Reagaнаut in the 1980s.
Yes, you are.
I just want to cut taxes and finance the Contras.
Yeah,
That's
or
all I
you
want
look
to
like
do.
one of Michael Gove's young men.
So I was very, I was
makes
very
sense.
out of place in a room that was full of pink hair, knitted vests, one lady in a
That's
Russian
just the blokes.
hat. Yeah, it was, and a guru. There was someone dressed as a guru, with the full towel around his head and everything, and it was quite. It had a touch of the Star Wars bar about it. But why did I go? Because the Green Party is in a good place right now. It has 4 MPs.
Ooh.
It's polling okay.
10. I think it's polling at 10 according to
That's pretty good in
YouGov
historic
today.
terms. They have got something like 850 councillors nationally. And given that Labour is under pressure from the right, it's also now under pressure on the left because of welfare reforms in Gaza, the Greens see an opportunity. So this leadership election, which was sold to me in the email as one of the most consequential political events of the autumn.
Wow.
Although we agreed it was certainly the most politically consequential event of Tuesday.
Of Tuesday morning.
Nonetheless, I thought I'm going to go to this because I do feel like this is the future. I think they're going to matter in a few years' time. The contest was very complicated. They have dual leadership teams and all this sort of stuff. But basically the contest was between 2 Green but different people. Zack Polanski, who is a London Assembly member, who was running on a populist, very economically radical ticket.
Used to be a Lib Dem.
Right. And Ellie Chowns, who represents North Herefordshire, I believe.
She was a surprise Green MP there. She wasn't expected to win, and she did because people were worried about pollution in rivers and things.
And the thing about Ellie, who I've been on Question Time a lot with, and I think is very polished, she is still quite radical. She tends to talk more about Gaza than she does the environment. But you can see that she is pitched at the rural and suburban end of the Green vote, which is growing, and that is people who are concerned with their mucky water and things like that. Whereas Zack Polanski, who was formerly a hypnotherapist, who allegedly tried to persuade someone that through hypnotherapy he could help them to feel as if their breasts were bigger.
Right.
Zack Polanski was pitched much more at the kind of Corbynite urban voters. So the result was going to be an interesting indicator of what is the Green Party like now? What does the Green Party want? Does it want to be middle-class eco, or does it want to be urban radical? Well, he won by something like 80%.
Yes.
It was totally hands down. It was a wipeout. And he got up to give his speech. He seems like a nice enough person. He has a partner who works in palliative care, so I like that. He gave quite a good speech. He didn't talk a lot about the climate.
No.
I noticed that Helen Lamb, the CEO of the party who introduced him, didn't mention the climate once, except in passing at the end with a veiled reference to climate justice. But
Did they mention the word genocide much?
Otherwise, genocide was mentioned a lot more than the conservation of the lesser spotted heron. You know,
funny that.
Which to me is odd because the roots of the Green Party really are in saving the planet, but now they seem to be about saving Gaza, which is a good cause. Nonetheless, so Zack got up, gave his speech, radical, bring more people into the party, etc., etc. But there are 2 things hanging over the Green Party right now. One, which is what most of the press ask questions about, which is Jeremy Corbyn. And he talked about how we might not have a political alliance with the new Corbyn party, but we could have an intellectual alliance with them, which means they work together when they want to, etc. And he tried to put a nice spin on the creation of Corbyn's party as we welcome lots of different parties as a proof that Labour's dying. The truth is the Greens must be really irritated that they had this breakthrough at the last election. They're doing well in the polls. And suddenly Corbyn decides to form a new party rather than join them. Why didn't he bring the Gazan independents in with him? Why didn't he and Zara Sultana join the Greens? From what I can make out, they agree on literally everything.
Yes.
What is it that stops them? And so
Ego.
The first suggestion from the polling, I'm told, is that one of the things Corbyn does is draw votes away from the Greens. So I feel sorry for them. They've done the work, they've got the councillors, they've got the MPs, and now they're actually going to be undermined by their ally, Jeremy Corbyn. But I think the other thing that hangs over the Greens is the issue of conservative Islam. Because some Muslims have made their home in the Greens, I think partly on the basis of the Gaza issue. And that was most evident in the election of their deputy leader. They've got two deputy leaders. One looked like a supermodel, classic kind of posh urbanite. Oh, thanks, jolly kind of you all to vote for me. Oh, gosh, I'm overwhelmed. And the other guy was
Mothin Ali.
Right.
Now, this caught my attention because I've done stories about Mothin Ali, who was a councillor in Leeds. And I did stories because in the immediate aftermath of October the 7th, I had found out that the rabbi there, who was the chaplain to all of the universities in Leeds, one of which I attended back in the 90s, had been forced into hiding along with his wife and their children. And he was spotted in a TikTok video describing the rabbi as some sort of animal. The day after October the 7th, on October the 8th, he posted a picture of himself with the Palestinian flag. No sympathy expressed for the Israeli victims of that massacre. He is somebody who very much stands by Palestine. He has labelled Israel in the past white supremacists. He has said that Gaza was, quotes, the biggest concentration camp the world has ever seen, which I would imagine is quite offensive to Jewish people in light of the Holocaust and actual concentration camps ruled over by murderous Nazis. And then in August, he posted a picture of himself posing alongside Bob Villan of Death to the IDF fame. And he was so keen on that photograph, Tim, that he set it as his profile picture on Facebook. We can't find many of his ex-posts because, curiously, he deleted his account. And I've written various columns about the Greens in the past. I don't think I would have been welcome this morning because the last column I wrote was headlined Carla Denyer, and that's Polanski's predecessor, Carla Denyer, wrong about everything all the time. But I don't like the hypocrisy of a party sort of purporting to be cuddly and environmental. I think that's something that they have got in common with Jeremy Corbyn and indeed Zara Sultana. There's this undercurrent, this reoccurrence of the kind of Jewish hatred that we witnessed under the last incarnation of Corbyn as Labour leader for those 4 years. And it makes me very uncomfortable.
And there's a tension, right, between you want to be the most pro-trans party and you also want to be the most... You also want to be the most pro-Muslim party.
Yes.
Well, one Gaza independent MP said publicly that he doesn't believe trans women are women, which then sparked a fight with Zara Sultana. So Jeremy Corbyn's new party has a problem with that. One thing that Polanski said, and so Zack Polanski is gay and Jewish. One of his deputy leaders is a woman. Another deputy leader is Muslim. It's a full house, right? But Zack Polanski said, Islamophobia and anti-Semitism are two sides of the same coin. And I really wanted to say to him, no, they're not. They're not. One reason why we have a big rise in anti-Semitism in this country is because of Muslim migration. I'm sorry, it is. So if you want to be the anti-racist party, you have to confront that issue within your own ranks. As, to be fair, the Labour Party has. I'm not saying you can't have a party with lots of Muslims in and not avoid anti-Semitism. That's not my point. My point is, if you're going to be the party that sets out to be the home of the most militantly pro-Gaza, most militantly anti-Zionist Muslims, then I'm telling you, you will find that your coin has quite a bit more anti-Semitism on it than Islamophobia.
Agreed. To end on a slightly lighter note, should we just very briefly go through some of the suggested names
Yes.
for Sexy Jez's new party? Because they did that tweet where they suggested it was called Your Party, and then they said, no, we're not going to call it Your Party because...
It was a placeholder.
It was a placeholder.
But they should have said it was a placeholder.
Yes, but they didn't. So here are some of the suggestions from our readers. The favourite option was The Leftovers,
Clever.
preferred by 40% of polled readers, closely followed by Left Behind, liked by a third of more than 4,000 votes, would you believe?
Close behind were suggestions including Left of Labour.
I think that's because the acronym is LOL.
But other ideas offered, which I think sort of hit the nail more on the head, include Jezbollah, Sultana and the Fruitcakes, and Fruit and Nut.
And on that bombshell, we'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m.